Welcome to another very cool section. In this section, we're going to cover how to create your very first post. It'll be a really cool section. We're going to cover the 5 main elements of a post. What are the necessary parts you need in a really good TikTok post, and also show you how I create my posts. You actually need to watch step by step how I create good posts, and we'll also give you a little hint on what is the best strategy to grow your account very fast. If you're ready, let's get started. Once you scroll through a lot of videos on TikTok, you'll notice that all of the great posts, the ones that tend to appear on the homepage and For You page, tend to have 5 elements that are really working for them. In this lecture, we're going to cover what are those 5 elements, and by the end, you will know how to use them and you'll have the complete overview. Let's jump straight in. I'll give you the brief overview of all the 5 elements, and then the next couple of lectures, we'll dive deep into every single one of them. Number 1 is video and the actual content that goes into the video. This includes the challenges and trends, which we'll cover in depth, but basically what is in the actual video. Number 2 is sound. Sound is very important, and this could be a song or any music that you take from TikTok. It could be also your original sound, so you could just record your voice if it's a value video. For example, you're just explaining some marketing strategies. You just really want to have a song playing in the background. You want to have your voice. You can record your own sound. You can also import music or other sounds from outside of TikTok. So we'll cover all of those. The third one is effects. Now, effects are a very important part of TikTok. They form most of the trends, and one of the easiest ways to grow your account is to create videos using effects and trends that are currently popular, and you'll get a lot of impressions and a lot of views. So we'll cover effects in detail. But for example, an effect would be an overlay on camera. It could be sort of a facial recognition. You could be using certain images, and that's all given to you by the TikTok app. So TikTok will constantly upload new effects, and they'll highlight new trends. But we'll cover that in the next sections. The next one is titles. So titles are important because it's just simple text that you can display. You can overlay text over your videos, and a lot of the users that your account will display to, maybe their English is not fantastic, so it's easier for them to follow if you see the text. You also have to catch attention at the beginning when you post a video. You can also read it, and maybe you can add some additional valuable information that's not easily taken out of the context. Or if you're not saying something right away, you can maybe just add it as a text. So that's why it's important. And the final one is description and hashtags. Hashtags in TikTok are a little different than hashtags on Instagram. They're still important, but a little different. And the same with descriptions. The descriptions tend to be much shorter than on other social media platforms, and we tend to use much fewer hashtags than we do on Instagram, for example. But in the next couple of lectures, we're going to dive deeper into all of these individually. So to summarize, you know that the 5 important elements are obviously the video and the content, the sounds that you actually use in the video, the effects, the titles, and finally the hashtags and description. If you're ready, let's jump in and we'll cover each one of those and explain how to use them to your advantage and how to create popular videos that will deliver either business results or personal branding results or grow your account if that's what you want.
Darius, I'm probably going to let you hit on this one the most, but I'll give you my impressions on this first. It's just that, in general, TikTok is very much tuned towards virality, and they're very friendly to new accounts, but the new accounts you see grow very quickly are the ones that do an effective job of meshing what content they want to make, what themes they want to tackle, but also being very smart about jumping on trends. So I think that as a newer account, yeah, it absolutely would focus at least half of your content on trying to get on trends and making sure that whatever the trend is, you make something that's relevant to it. Because as the algorithm currently works, an enormous amount of focus will go towards that. If the NFL draft is on, sorry, this is very American, but if the NFL draft is on and you make some content that's relevant to that, it's going to get amplified considerably because TikTok realizes a lot of people are watching this type of content right now. So therefore, they're going to push an abnormal amount of traffic and attention towards it. So that's my general recommendation is trends. I would lean towards trends, especially early on. When you get large enough, I think you could try your own stuff, but you're going to find that your hit rate with original type content is just going to be lower. I think the odds of success are lower, but when you do hit one right and it does work, maybe even start your own challenge, then it can grow and be massive for you. But it's just not really something I would try to do when you're newer and your account is just smaller.
Yeah, when you're just starting off, the best thing you can do is follow trends and do content around trends, but put your own spin on it. So the more creative and more personal you can make it, the better it's going to be. You don't want to just copy a trend and do exactly the same what you've seen before. That's boring. And you might get some attention that way, but it's not a good long-term strategy. The best thing you can do at the beginning, like Evan is saying, at the very start, follow a trend, do trends, but create your own spin on it. And even if you might have a business account or you might be sort of a professional, or let's say you're a lawyer and it's a dance trend, you can still do the trend, but using your own professional spin on it or whatever is the type of account that you have. So that's the best way to start. And I've seen when I was starting, until I went to the first maybe 10K followers, that was the best way to grow. So follow trends using my own spin on it. And afterwards, the videos that I did that were my own and they were not doing any trends, but are just my own creation, those started to get some attention as well. So I think, like Eva was saying, at the beginning, follow trends, then later on you can transition into doing your own type of content. And the bigger you are, the bigger sort of trendsetter you're going to become yourself, and then you might start challenges or might start trends. Obviously, like the ultimate hit is that you start a new trend yourself that goes viral and catches on. That's what happened to the Old Town Road, the song. That's why it blew up, and that's why it became the #1 song in the world, because somebody posted it, and they did their own like a cowboy video, and then it just became a huge trend, and like TikTok was just flooded with this one song and trend. That's the sort of the holy grail, but it's really hard to get, and you shouldn't shoot for that at the beginning. At the beginning, you should follow trends and put your own spin on them with your own personality and your own niche.
Yeah, it's a good point about twisting the trends a little bit or tweaking them to your thing. I think one of the most effective strategies I've seen for newer accounts is they take a trend and they do something as simple as just changing the ending, right? Because when people are watching the same thing over and over again, like the same thing dubbed to the same dialogue or the same song or whatever, they're expecting the same payoff at the end of the video. And all you have to do is just change the payoff, right? Where it's like, it's not what you'd expect at all. And oftentimes that's just enough to get the engagement you want to stand out in that trend. Because, you know, when you make a trend, if you do the exact same thing as everybody else, it's really hard to make that stand out on the trending page or when people are searching for that challenge or that whatever. But that's one way where you just take that and change one thing. And that one thing, it makes more sense for your niche or your account.
Yeah, and one thing to add to trends as well, there's a timing element. So if you see a trend today, it's ideal that you would make a video today or tomorrow, because trends do get old and they sort of recycle quickly. So just keep that in mind. Not everybody has the ability or the willingness to do this frequently, but it will help to catch a trend on early, put your own spin on it. And like Emma said, it doesn't have to be a huge change. It can be something very, very tiny, but it will make it more creative and more interesting that way.
I think one thing I would say is that people are not really thinking about this the right way. There's no golden ratio for like spend 50% of your time editing and 50% of your time filming. It's just there's no real suggestion we can give you towards that. I think the thing I would say is just don't underestimate your editing, because editing, you can do an enormous amount with it, and it's what really can tie together the video. Now, we've talked about before how watch time is the biggest metric in TikTok. It's just the golden thing. And the difference between getting everyone to watch on average 4 seconds versus 7 seconds is enormous. Just that extra 3 seconds. So with editing, you can very often put in things that keep their attention, that get you those couple extra seconds. So I would never discount editing, but I think obviously the filming and the shot itself is going to be more important, right? You can fix a lot of stuff in editing, but if you're doing a challenge video and you just screw it up entirely, like no editing is going to save that, unless you decide to make it like a funny, like I screwed up when I made it video. Yeah, so don't discount editing, but if I had to guess, I'd say, you know, spend 80% of your time filming and 20% editing. I don't know.
Yeah, so actually for me personally, what I like to do is I actually think of it as 3 steps. One is sort of thinking through the video and the way I'm going to frame it and show it and which scene goes where. Then it's the actual filming of the video, and then it's the editing. And me personally, I use about a third of time on each. So I'll do 1/3 thinking through, 1/3 filming, and 1/3 editing. That's just me personally. I've seen accounts that do 0 editing, so they'll just shoot everything. They don't do any transitions or any of that. They just shoot everything, post it, and it does well. So that's definitely possible. And like Evan was saying, the watch time is sort of the golden metric we're looking at. So I'll use editing and transition specifically to catch people's attention. So what I like to do is I'll have a video where I'll introduce a concept or ask a question or tell something to the viewers in the first 1 or 2 seconds, and I'll do a transition that's somewhat interesting and eye-catching. And then I continue with the video and I keep the transitions going every couple of seconds. So it just changes the scene, it sort of puts a break there, and it helps keep the video entertaining, and it helps people to keep on watching, even if they don't understand what it's about, but you keep the attention at the beginning. So that's what I use the editing for. We've seen some accounts that are highly edited, so they'll even like export the videos and they use Adobe After Effects or Final Cut Pro or some of these editing tools to make it very nice. And if you have a very visual account and that's something you want to do, that's fine, but it doesn't always have the right ROI in terms of like, are you going to get the amount of attention you're actually putting in terms of the effort that goes in there. TikTok is a visual platform, so obviously video is the most important point of your entire post. In this lecture, we're going to dive deeper into video. We'll talk about how exactly to use video. Even if you're brand new and you haven't maybe spent a lot of time on TikTok, we're going to describe how to take advantage of video, and especially describe you might see a lot of, for example, dancing videos, a lot of trends, but that's not necessarily what you need to post, even if you still want to grow your account. For example, as a business, maybe dancing videos are not relevant for you, but don't worry, you do not have to post dance videos. So in this lecture, we'll talk about how to use video, and I'm going to walk you through the actual interface of the camera and explain how to create some of the effects that are very popular on TikTok. You ready? Let's get started. There are several different types of videos or posts that you can create. Now, there are trends and challenges, and we have a separate lecture just on those because they're very, very important and the quickest way to grow your account. So, for example, if you see like a comedy sketch or if you see a certain effect in your feed at least 3 times in a row, or like 3 times in one day, it's probably a trend. And also challenges will cover challenge and trends. Make it very, very easy to post a video on TikTok without being creative, or if you have no idea what to post, that's a great way to start. Maybe even if you have a business and maybe some of the challenges are not directly relevant for you, but it's an easy way to get started. And again, we have a separate lecture for that. But what you need to know that you can create challenges and trends, and you can create and upload your own videos. So for example, I wanted my account to be educational and provide a lot of value. I don't necessarily want to create dancing videos. I don't want to grow my account just for the sake of growth. What I care about is the type of audience that I'm going to have, because I have a specific idea and purpose for my specific type of account. I want to provide value, and I want my followers to be, for example, if I'm providing marketing value and marketing tips, I want my followers to be interested in marketing and not just have followers for the sake of followers. One thing you need to remember is that TikTok is a very fast platform, meaning that you need to catch people's attention very, very quickly. If your video doesn't get attention doesn't catch attention in the first 1 or 2 seconds, people are going to keep scrolling. Once you get to the normal behavior, you can watch some people that are on TikTok, they scroll so fast, and if something is not interesting, you don't get a second chance. So your video needs to catch attention right away. If you're following a trend or a challenge, people are familiar with those, they're willing to wait a bit longer. But if it's just a video that you're posting, something to keep in mind is a brand, the attention span is getting shorter and shorter, and you really don't have much time. So you need to communicate the value right up front, and then once you catch their attention, you can go into the more depth into the actual video. The one important thing to note before we actually do a walkthrough of the actual user interface on TikTok and show you how to record videos is make sure that your lighting is very good. One of the most common mistakes that people do when they start posting on TikTok is their lighting is not very good. You don't need professional grade lighting or anything like that. We do have a separate lecture on if you want professional lighting, for example, ring lights. We do have a whole lecture on that in the future sections. But just make sure that if you're posting a video, ideally you are standing. If you are outdoors, it's great. There's a lot of lighting. But if you're indoors, make sure that you're standing in a window and you're facing the window. You're facing out so that the sun and the light comes directly onto your face, and the stuff in the back is darker and more in the background. So this is how you should sort of separate yourself from a lot of light. If you turn around the other way when your back is to the window, obviously a lot of shadows. It's not going to be very visible. So make sure that you have really good lighting for your first post. So I have my phone here with me, and I'm actually going to walk you through the camera and the different elements of the actual video, and we'll talk about what's important and how to use the camera. Now, I'll just mention that I prefer to shoot my videos using a normal camera app, not the TikTok app, but using a normal camera app, then editing it afterwards using an app called Splice, and only afterwards importing it into TikTok and adding some of the elements like the sounds and the effects and any of these other things. That's just my personal preference. We do have a separate lecture on how to do that as well, but this is the very simple form of how to record a video inside TikTok app, and I'll walk you through the user interface. So as you can see, I am over here in my homepage on the For You page. So I'll click on the plus button that's on the bottom, and that will open the camera. As you can see, this has the camera and it's recording my face. As I mentioned at the beginning, it is possible to record off TikTok, edit the videos, and import them in here. But for this part, we'll talk about specifically how do you record the videos over here. So from the top right, as you can see at the very top, there's the icon for flip. So I can flip the camera, and over here, you'll see, for example, it's recording the other camera. Then on the next icon is speed. So speed allows you to record videos at a obviously higher speed. So if I click on 2 over here, if I record a video, then if you play it back, it will play it at twice the speed. You could also do slow motion, so half. So if I click the speed button, it'll just hide its options, but it's open by default. The next icon we have is beauty. So this is a beauty mode. Should be making me more beautiful, but it's basically just, it uses AI to clear the skin. So my skin should be smoother using the beauty mode. I'll turn that off. Then the next option, we have the filters. The filters are not very popular. These are sort of filters like you've seen on Instagram. They're very popular there, but the filters are not really popular. They're not used very much over here. There's different options for different types of filters and goes on and on. But these are very rarely used, so I wouldn't even worry about that at all. And then we have the timer, so that's pretty simple. You can set the timer on your phone, and then it will start recording in 3 seconds. But also, if you record without the timer, you can edit the videos in the app afterwards. So actually, it has quite sophisticated editing options inside the app itself. On the very bottom, you see that right now it says 15 seconds, so that means we're recording a 15-second video. If I click the record button, go for 15 seconds, we can also click to 60 seconds. Now, most of the videos that we see on the homepage, the For You page, most of the videos that are getting a lot of attention are at least 10 seconds long, so 10 plus, and about 15 seconds, sometimes 20 seconds in length. So pretty short videos that do quite well. Then there's a template option. So template, basically, it has sound, I'll turn it off. But template option basically allows you to import pictures, and it'll create it into videos. This doesn't work very well. TikTok is a video native platform, and I very rarely see any pictures that are uploaded this way. So this is for the camera. And the left side over here, we have the effects, but we'll talk about the effects with a separate lecture because they're very important for TikTok. And on the bottom right, you can click on upload, and it'll open your camera, and then you can upload some of the videos from there. So you can, as I mentioned before, you can record videos using your normal camera and just upload it, and then you do the editing inside the app. So I'll record a short video over here, so we can use it as an example. At the top, you see over there, it's showing me how long I have to record. So this was the 60-second video, I believe. So it should record, no, 15 seconds. So I'll record it for 15 seconds. Yes. So neat option is that you can record a part of the video, and you can flip the camera and continue recording. So I'll show you how that works. I'm going to go back and delete this segment. So it was a 15-second video. I'll hit record, and here, let's say I'm introducing a concept, so I'll talk for 5 seconds. And then what we can do is we can switch the camera, and I can continue recording using this. So I can record my computer or whatever that is, and that's it. And I'll flip the camera again. It's back to me, and I can continue talking. So this is a neat way that you can record yourself introducing something, then you can record action, and you go back to introducing it yourself. So this is a good example. I'm going to click on the little check mark here on the bottom right over here, and then we can go to the next part of the process, which is the editing. So the first part you do all the filming, and the next part we do the editing. So as you can see, as you can hear, it has the audio that I had, but I'll turn off the audio. And there's a number of options we have over here. So the video will keep playing in the background, but on the right side, I'll click the extension button, and you see there's a bunch of options. So from the very top, again, we have the filters. You can also add filters in here. So not only do you have filters in the shooting mode, but also in the editing mode. Again, if you record a video off TikTok import, you can still add the filters, but they're not very popular. Then we have adjust clip. So you can adjust the length of the clip, but it'll remove any, as you see, any effects or text or stickers, but we don't have any effects. So I can say continue. And here on the left side of the bar, as you can see, I can drag it left and right, and I can edit the length. So if I wanted to not include the first couple seconds, and also at the end, I'll trim it. And this way, you see, we've trimmed the video. If I click on save, it's trimmed the parts of the video that we did. Then we have voice effects. So I'll turn on the volume and continue recording, and we can add any effects. First, you have to download it, so I'll click on Chipmunk.
Hey, I'm introducing a concept, so I'll talk for 5 and continue recording using this.
Record my computer, whatever that is. Say I'm introducing a concept. Yeah, so these are any effects that you could include in the video if you wanted to. I don't see them used very often, but if it's relevant for your video, then you should by any means totally use them. Then we have voiceover. So if I click on voiceover, I can record my voice over this video. Maybe something you imported, or you only included, you shot the videos, let's say outside, and you were shooting some action video of something. You want to talk over it, you can do it over here. Then we can trim the audio, but that's not possible right now because we haven't added any sound. You cannot trim the audio that's in there by default, but if we could add a song, then we can trim the song afterwards. And then we have the volume. So if you click on the volume, you can see I can decrease the volume of the original sound, and also soundtrack is disabled right now because we haven't included a soundtrack. But I'll show you how to do that real quick. So on the bottom left, I'll click on sound. You just need to know that here is where we can add sounds. We do have a separate lecture on sounds because they're very important, but you can add them over here. And then on the bottom, we have effects. Again, a separate lecture on that. We have text, titles, and stickers. We don't have a separate lecture on stickers, but they're very similar as stickers on other social media platforms. Instagram and Snap have them, so it's basically just a sort of an element that you can add. Let's say I wanted to create a poll. Click on this. I could ask a question, and then put in yes or no. And then people that will see this video can respond, and they can engage with the poll, and they can do that. So this is the basic option of the camera and the editing. Again, the first part was camera, the second part was editing. If I click on next, this is where the video has the final touches, and we can post it on the actual profile. On the very top, there's a description and hashtags. We do have a separate lecture on that, so follow up. Then you can see it will ask me if I want to post it publicly or privately or just to friends. Keep it public. Allow comments. Comments are good because when people engage and comment, it shows the algorithm that people like the video go up. Then you can allow duets and reacts. We mentioned what duets and reacts are, so you can also disable that option, but why not just keep it open? And by default, it will save the video to your device, so you can turn that off if you don't want to save all of the videos. It doesn't really matter. And then on the bottom, as you can see, you can share it to other platforms. It's great if you have following in other platforms. You should by any means share your TikTok content because you can let other people know from other platforms that you have a TikTok profile, and then they can follow your profile. So these are the main elements of the video. And on the very bottom, you can see we can either post it or we can save a draft. I like to batch produce my content, so I'll take a couple of hours or maybe half a day on a weekend to just prepare all of the videos and shoot all the videos, and I'll save them all as drafts, and I'll post them throughout the week on the fly. We do have a couple of lectures, and then we talk about the frequency of posting and the content and all of those, so don't worry about it. This is just a very brief overview of what options are available in the camera. So I'm going to go ahead and save this video as a draft. And now if I wanted to add a new video, I can have it as a draft. So recap, now you know that you need to get people's attention in the first 1 or 2 seconds. If you're indoors, you need to have a really good lighting. Make sure that you're standing in the window. You know that you can record your videos inside TikTok and then also edit it inside the app. Or like myself, you can record it off TikTok, use an editing app like Splice, and then import it back into TikTok and add any important elements there. So those are all the important walkthroughs of the UI camera. In the next video, we're going to take a look at sounds. Sound, songs, and music is the most important element of your TikToks right after video. In this lecture, we'll talk about what role the sounds play, how to use sounds to your advantage, and how to find the right sounds that will help you get more attention, get more views, and grow your followers. TikTok was originally an app called Musical.ly, and Musical.ly was basically a lip syncing app, so sounds were a huge part of it. And actually, TikTok is slowly changing the way even music industry works. If you know the song Old Time Road, it became the #1 song in the Billboard chart in the US, and it holds a world record for the longest time it spent on the #1 chart. That song blew up on TikTok. Somebody uploaded it, they used it in their video, and it got reused over and over again. It went viral, just crazy. And TikTok single-handedly sort of was the biggest push in the virality of that song and what made it stick on the Billboard top charts for the longest time ever. So you can imagine how important sounds are inside the app. Now, there's basically 3 main ways to use sounds in your TikTok. Number 1 is very basically if you are doing a value video. So again, for example, explainer, if I'm talking about marketing, I would record my own voice and I would just use that as a sound. So if I'm providing something valuable, I'll use that. Number 2 is to import and use a song. So a lot of the videos don't necessarily have somebody talking, or even if you do, you could use a song in the background, use music. There's a lot of 15-second songs inside of TikTok that you can use for your benefit. Also, you can import music and other songs that are not in TikTok yet. A lot of times when a video is just a video of something else, if you're doing a trend or a challenge, necessarily not talking into the video, you can use a song. One important thing to notice is that if you can use a video without any language, so just songs and music, but no actual you talking, and there's no sort of written word in the video, you have a chance of going viral in other countries other than your own or just your own English-speaking country, because the content that's sort of transcends the language barrier has an opportunity to go viral in other parts. And TikTok is very evenly distributed. There are a lot of users that don't speak English on TikTok. So one thing to keep in mind is that if you only use a song that's popular, but not any sounds or any sort of spoken sounds or words, then you have a higher chance of going viral globally, not just in your own country. And the final third part of using sounds is a lot of people do funny sort of sketches and comedy skits using imported sounds or sounds from TV shows, for example, or sounds from other popular videos on YouTube. So it doesn't have to be your own sound, it doesn't have to be a song or music, but it can just be a sound. For example, people, what they do, they'll import a part of conversation from a famous TV show, and they'll reenact it themselves, but they'll use their original sound. A lot of videos got very popular this way, and you can also use it in a smart, creative way for example, business purpose. It doesn't have to be just comedy, but there's a third option to use sound. So I have on my phone here, and I'm going to show you how sounds are used and how to use those sounds in your own videos. So first off, we have a video over here in my home feed, and I'll play that video. So right now, this is a popular trend or a scheme people are doing, and they're showing themselves in front of their next to their significant others that are working at home, but they're not, and they're all using the same song. So the song is sort of the glue or the element of the skit. If you hear the song, you know that it falls within this one theme. So I'm on the For You page on the homepage, and the bottom, on the left side on the bottom over here, you see that it says sound yay for cats. If I click on that thing, it'll show me the song. So if I click on the top left, and I'll play it, there's the song, and these are all the videos that are using that song. So it's a really cool part in TikTok. You can identify all the videos that are using it, and then you can see what are the trends. So you know that it's a trend because there's a lot of people using that same sound in their videos. So I'll show you some other ones, for example, over here. So it's just people being silly, basically, that's what it is. And one thing to notice, they're organized in popularity. So from top to bottom, the most viewed over there. So if you wanted to use this song, now one thing I really recommend is saving all of the sounds that you like. Any song that's popular, you should definitely save it. So I'll just click to add to favorites, and now it's in my favorites. It'll be saved in my profile, and I can use it whenever I want. When you go through TikTok, you'll hear a lot of different sounds and songs, and it's sometimes impossible to remember the names when you want to use it for your own videos. So if you see anything that you like, definitely save it. Also, if you hear a song or sound multiple times in your feed, so if you open your feed in a day and you see something 3 times, it's definitely a trend. So if you want to hop on that trend, you should save the song or the sound, and you can use it later on. And on the top right, we can also share it, so you can click on the sharing button, but it's not important right now. And if I click on the bottom, it says use the sound. So I'll go ahead and click, and as you can see, it opened the camera, and on the top, it already has that sound. So if I was to record something, I'm going to go record, and you can hear it already has the sound in the background. So if I were to actually use this video, I would go ahead and click next, click on volume, and you can adjust the volume here. As you can hear, the video doesn't have the voice of me talking, so it only used that song. So that's one way you can jump on the trends and use the songs. So I'll go ahead and turn this off. Actually, we can exit. Yeah. So you'll see songs in your feed if I scroll through my feed.
Look what these people put inside. Nothing inside is worth dying.
So again, if I click on the sound, this is the original sound, and as you can see, this is not a trend because this song only has one video. So there's not people that are jumping on it. This is the original sound. Somebody recorded it. That's what they said. And what I can do now is, again, I can use the same sound and I record my own version of the video. This is how trends are started. Somebody sees, oh, here's funny audio. They'll repost it. Then somebody repost it again. And that's how things go viral very, very fast. So also, whenever you record a video and post it, other people can use that sound themselves. Now, if you're a business, this could be a really good thing. If your song takes off and goes viral, then that's amazing branding. That's really, really good exposure. This is how music goes viral on TikTok. Somebody will hear a song, and they can click on it and then use it in their own site. This is how the song Old Time Road went viral. So this is going to be really good for you if you are a business or a musician. Another way to use songs, I'll show you. I'll click on the plus button, and again, it opens my camera. Let's say I wanted to record me talking about something. I'll use this. On the bottom left, there's a sound button. As you can see again, bottom left. Click on the sound button, and here I have all the songs that are available in TikTok. So it will be different on your region. So different regions have different songs because there's all the permissions and the rights. But it basically shows you what are the common playlists in the top charts. So for example, over here on the playlist, you see the orange icon that says TikTok viral. So I'll go there and it'll show me all the songs that are currently TikTok viral. These charts are updated, and if I click on the first song. So this is currently a very popular song on TikTok, and that's why it's shown as viral. So on the right, I can click and it'll add it to my favorites. So again, if you discover a popular song that you like, you should save it to your favorites. And if I click on play, I can use it in my video. So I clicked on the icon on the right, and it added it to my video. And now I can go to editing, click on the volume, and I can control the volume. So I can turn off my original sound that I recorded and increase the sound of the song. Or vice versa. We could just put soundtrack as very quiet, maybe just 30%, that it's in the background, and I could increase my volume. Record me talking about. I wanted to record me talking about. I wanted to record me talking about. Yeah, so now we can go next, and we can post this video. It has the original song. So this is how you can use songs, discover songs, save songs to favorite, or upload your own sound. Just keep in mind that anybody can repost, and this is what makes TikTok fun because you can use the elements of other people's videos, and it makes it very easy to interact. In the next lecture, we're going to take a look at effects. It's one of the most important elements that make videos go viral. Effects.